Gout's 3 from the left. You're not going to miss him. He's going to lead them into the straight. Gout's got a lot to do. We knew that. He gets up alongside Law. Can he get to Kennedy? Not at the moment. Kennedy's in front. Gout's coming hard. Very, very hard. Kennedy's won.
Gout Gout's coach, Sheppard, just threw fuel on the fire after the Australian sprint sensation's shocking defeat Lachie Kennedy at the Maurie Plant Meet. What started as a stunning upset on the track has quickly turned into a heated saga, leaving fans alike questioning the future of the 17-year-old phenom. "I know he's quite angry about that," Sheppard told ABC's 7:30 in a revealing post-race interview that has shocked the athletics world. This rare insight into Gout's mindset came after Kennedy, 21, beat him with a personal best of 20.26 seconds, edging out Gout's 20.30 in the Peter Norman Memorial Race, which was meant to mark Gout's rise as Australia's sprint king. The revelation is especially surprising considering Gout's calm public demeanor after the race. The Queensland high schooler was seen congratulating Kennedy at the finish line and keeping a gracious front while interacting with fans and media. However, beneath that sportsmanlike mask, a fierce competitive fire was burning, one that his inner circle has now brought to light. Gout's manager James Templeton was even more direct about his client's reaction, telling Code Sports, "He's pissed off, which is good." This insight into Gout's competitive mindset paints a picture of an athlete who, despite his youth, carries the mentality of a champion who expects nothing less than victory every time he steps onto the track. The loss marks a big moment in Gout's rapid rise to fame, as it's his first major setback since breaking a 56-year-old national record in December. His 20.04-second run at the Australian All-Schools Championships had people comparing him to Usain Bolt. Saturday's result was far from that, sparking concerns about the pressure and hype affecting the 17-year-old. Sheppard, however, was quick to contextualize the situation. "Everything we've done is a step forward. It's all about learning how to cope with this environment as well. So I think he's doing a great job. Just remember, he's a 17-year-old boy, and he's got a bright future." Her comments serve as both a defense of her young athlete and a reminder to the public that despite his extraordinary talent, Gout is still developing both physically and mentally. The race itself was a thriller that had the capacity crowd on their feet. Kennedy exploded out of the blocks to gain an early advantage and maintained his lead coming off the bend. True to form, Gout unleashed his trademark devastating finish, eating into Kennedy's lead with every stride down the home stretch. As both athletes lunged for the line, Kennedy held on by the slimmest of margins, just 0.04 of a second, to claim a victory that few had predicted. Kennedy, fresh from winning a silver medal in the 60 meters at the World Athletics Indoor Championships, was gracious in victory. "I just wanted to give him, Gout, a good race. It wouldn't be fun if he just destroyed everyone," he told reporters. "I'm sorry if I did spoil it a little bit, but what a great race. You can't be upset watching something like that." This sportsmanship highlights the respect between the two athletes, even as a potentially exciting rivalry begins to take shape. Despite the setback, Gout spoke positively about the experience in his post-race comments, though his words now carry more weight after insights from his coach and manager. "Coming second is something you have to experience. It fuels my fire to work harder and be better at nationals," Gout said. "This is what you live for, this environment, the hype, the expectation. This is sport. This is what I go to sleep for."
I didn't expect it to be that fast, but I guess her end showed as fast as every time in the 200. I've been chasing that record, but I didn't think it would come this year. I thought it would come maybe next year or the year after that.
The teenager's ability to find motivation in defeat speaks to a maturity beyond his years, even as his inner frustration demonstrates the fierce competitive spirit that has propelled him to such heights at such a young age. "The experience is second to none. This is only something you can get from a big meet," Gout continued. "It feels great having everyone saying my name, everyone screaming my name at the top of their lungs." Not everyone is surprised by Saturday's outcome. American athletics analyst Aaron Brown, who runs the popular Aaron Spider Brown TikTok page, has been one of Gout's most vocal critics and was quick to declare, "I told you so," after the race. Brown has consistently warned against the dangers of hyping young athletes as the next Usain Bolt, citing previous examples where such pressure has proven detrimental to promising careers. "Every person y'all have ever deemed the next Usain Bolt in track and field has ruined them," Brown stated in his latest TikTok post. "They did it with Matthew Boland. He did a 9.98 seconds windy time, and he was the next Usain Bolt. Christopher Taylor from Jamaica in 2015, the next Usain Bolt. He's running faster than Bolt ran at his age. Trayvon Brommel, the next Usain Bolt." Brown's criticism highlights the immense pressure Gout faces as he navigates both his final year of high school and his budding athletic career under the intense spotlight of public attention. Instead of just letting the kid be a kid and letting him develop, Brown continued, questioning why Australia would put unreasonable expectations on the kid. The loss sets up what could become a fascinating rivalry between Gout and Kennedy heading into future competitions, potentially extending all the way to the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. Kennedy's victory serves as a reminder that Australian sprinting has more than one star on the rise, even as most of the attention continues to focus on the teenage phenom. Saturday's upset and the subsequent revelations about Gout's reaction mark an important chapter in what promises to be a remarkable career.
And now we really start to open him up. So let the legs loose and let the kid run. He is absolutely gone. He is Gout of this world.
How he responds to this setback at upcoming nationals will reveal much about his character and resilience. If the comments from his inner circle are any indication, this defeat has only intensified his determination to prove himself on the track. What do you think about Gout Gout's coach revealing his true feelings after the race? Is this competitive anger a positive sign for his future development? Or should there be concerns about the pressure the young athlete is under? And will this upset victory by Lachie Kennedy spark a rivalry that could define Australian sprinting for years to come? The answers will begin to emerge as both athletes continue their journeys toward international glory, with the world watching every step of the way.
He's hit the front, he's hit the straight. Here we go. 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20,
Australian sprint sensation. Gout Gout has sent shockwaves through the athletics world by delivering a stunning rebuke to comparisons with legendary Jamaican sprinter Usain Bolt. The 17-year-old phenom, who has been consistently breaking records and making headlines, has finally spoken out about the constant parallels drawn between him and the greatest sprinter of all time, and his response has left the track and field community stunned. Gout said in a candid 7 News Spotlight interview with renowned sports commentator Bruce McAvaney, "In the moment it feels great because everyone wants to be compared to Usain Bolt, the fastest athlete alive. At times, it does get a bit overwhelming, but now that I've grown up, I'm a bit mature, and my circle really helps me stay level, and I'm just trying to make a name for myself." Then came the statement that has everyone talking. "Although I do run like Usain Bolt, and I do maybe look like him, I'm just trying to be myself and trying to be the next Gout." With these powerful words, the teenage sprinter has made it clear that while the comparisons to Bolt initially felt flattering, they've quickly grown stale. The Australian superstar is now focused on carving his own unique legacy in the sport rather than living in anyone else's shadow.
Yeah, indeed.
How did that feel?
I mean, obviously, in the moment, it feels great because everyone wants to be compared to Usain Bolt, the fastest athlete alive. And at times, it does get a bit overwhelming. But now that I've grown up and I'm a bit mature, my circle really helps me stay level. And I'm just basically trying to make a name for myself. Although I do run like Usain Bolt, I do maybe look like him in a couple of ways. I just trying to be myself and just try.
What makes this declaration particularly significant is that it comes on the heels of Gout's extraordinary performances at the Queensland Athletics Championships in Brisbane. There, the teenager clocked an incredible 19.98 seconds in the 200-meter final, becoming the first Australian to break the 20-second barrier, though the time wasn't entered into the record books due to wind assistance exceeding the legal limit. In the heats, He posted a wind-legal 20.05, once again threatening Peter Norman's 56-year-old national record of 20.06, which Gout had already broken in December with a time of 20.04.
Away now, third of 3 heats. Under 20 boys, 100 metres. 10:35 on the top there for Gout Gout. He'll be through to the final later on, you'll see.
These remarkable achievements have naturally invited comparisons to Bolt, who revolutionized sprinting during his dominant career. But Gout's rejection of these parallels represents a bold statement of independence from an athlete who appears wise beyond his years. Rather than embracing the mantle of the next Bolt, he wants to establish himself as the first Gout Gout, a superstar in his own right. Australian Olympic great John Stephenson believes the teenager's impact extends far beyond his individual achievements. He is fun to watch. It is at the point where it's just fun and exciting and the world is on notice. And really, Australia haven't had a legit sprinter since Matt Shervington, Patrick Johnson, and Peter Walsh, and they haven't done what this kid is doing, Stephenson told news.com.au after Gout broke the 20-second mark. Gout Gout has done this at just 16, 17, and even if nothing happens from here, what Gout Gout has done has set up Australians sprinting for the future, Stephenson continued. We should be in debt for the work he has done because he's given us some belief that we can compete again with the best in the world. The international athletics community has certainly taken notice. According to Stephenson, when I speak internationally, everyone is curious about him, and even more importantly, every young boy and girl in this country that has seen what he is doing now has that seed of belief that they can do it, and it is priceless for our sport. This growing global attention makes Gout's decision to distance himself from the Bolt comparisons even more significant. Many young athletes might be tempted to lean into such prestigious parallels, but Gout's determination to forge his own identity speaks volumes about his character and confidence. With the Brisbane Olympics coming in 2032, Australian fans are already dreaming of what could be a historic moment on home soil. He is doing all the right things, so without a doubt, the world is his oyster. And we, as the Australian public, should give him time, enjoy what we are seeing, celebrate that he is an Australian, and that we have Brisbane Olympics in our backyard, and come, then potentially he is lining up, and we are cheering him home in another Kathy Freeman moment, Stephenson predicted.
Cody Jordan as his nearest challenger, starting to roll, just too late. It is the double for Biyanda Walaza.
The reference to Freeman's iconic 400-meter gold medal at the 2000 Sydney Olympics highlights just how significant Gout's potential has become in the Australian sporting consciousness. Already, at just 17, he's being mentioned alongside one of the nation's greatest Olympic moments, with expectations that he could deliver something similarly special in Brisbane. For now, though, Gout's focus remains on his immediate future. Fans won't have to wait long to see him in action again, as he's set to compete at the Maurie Plant Meet in Melbourne on March 29th. This prestigious event will provide another opportunity for the teenager to showcase his extraordinary talent, and perhaps break even more records along the way. What makes Gout's rejection of the Bolt comparisons particularly noteworthy is that there are legitimate parallels between the two. Both are tall, graceful sprinters with exceptional closing speed. Both burst onto the scene as teenagers, setting age group records and competing against much older athletes. And both have charismatic personalities that transcend their sport. But Gout clearly understands something profound, that true greatness doesn't come from being the next version of someone else. It comes from authenticity, from embracing your unique strengths and building your own legacy. By pushing back against the Bolt comparisons, he's not diminishing the Jamaican legend's achievements, but rather asserting his own place in the sport's hierarchy. As the athletics world continues to watch Gout's development with bated breath, his stance serves as a reminder that in sports, as in life, the most compelling stories aren't about following in someone else's footsteps. They're about blazing your own trail. The teenager who was initially overwhelmed by comparisons to the greatest sprinter of all time has found his voice and his purpose. He's not the next Usain Bolt. He's the first Gout Gout. And that might just prove to be even more extraordinary. What do you think about Gout Gout's rejection of the Usain Bolt comparisons? Is he right to distance himself from these parallels at such a young age, and with his times already approaching world-class levels? Just how fast might he be running by the time the Brisbane Olympics arrive in 2032? The answers to these questions will unfold in the coming years, but one thing is certain. Gout Gout is determined to write his own story, on his own terms, and the athletics world will be watching every step of the way.
Lee, Gout, Atkinson, Cully, Brady, Peacock, what's the clock, ladies and gentlemen? He's hit the front, he's hit the straight. Here we go. 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20.
The sprint world is buzzing with excitement as 17-year-old Australian phenom Gout Gout has just accomplished something that has sent shockwaves through track and field, becoming the first Australian athlete in history to break the 20-second barrier in the 200 meters. At the 128th Queensland Athletics Championships in Brisbane, Gout clocked an astonishing 19.98 seconds. A performance that has legends of the sport breaking down what this means for the future of sprinting. While the time won't count as an official record due to wind assistance of plus 3.6 meters per second, the significance of this achievement cannot be overstated. As track and field legend Rodney Green explained on the March 19th episode of Ready, Set, Go,
he is the first Australian to sub 20 seconds in all conditions. I was happy for him. He wished that it was wind legal, but the wind didn't permit for it. It was just a little bit over the allowable, but he is the first Australian with sub 20 seconds in all conditions, which is good. I watched him, and the competition is not even, no disrespect to this competition because they are youth athletes like him, but he beat those kids by 2 seconds, bro.
What makes Gout's performance even more jaw-dropping is the margin by which he dominated his competition. The young sprinter didn't just win, he obliterated the field, finishing a full 2 seconds ahead of his closest competitor. In sprint terms, this isn't just winning, it's competing in an entirely different race altogether. Four-time world champion Justin Gatlin was left stunned by the visual evidence of Gout's dominance, remarking, "They weren't even in the screen. When the TV was panning and you was watching him pull away from the field, he just was in the screen by himself." The Queensland Championships showcased Gout's versatility and sustained excellence across multiple events. First, he captured the 100-meter title with a time of 10.38 seconds. Then, in the 200-meter heats, he posted a world-leading mark of 20.05 seconds with a wind reading of plus 1.2 meters per second, making it the fastest 200-meter run by any athlete in 2025 as of March 19th. But it was his wind-assisted 19.98 in the final that has the track world truly buzzing. This performance comes just months after Gout broke Usain Bolt's world age 16 best in the 200 meters. In 2024, at the Australian All-Schools Championships in Brisbane, he clocked 20.04 seconds to surpass Bolt's 20.13, which had stood since 2003. For context, these records from Bolt's teenage years were once considered virtually untouchable, as Rayanch Dubey aptly described them. Bolt's records used to be like those carved in stone and thrown into the bottom of the ocean. You just knew they were there, and catching them up was something next to impossible. But wait, there is more. The comparisons to Bolt are inevitable, but what's truly remarkable is how quickly Gout is closing the gap to the Jamaican legend's senior records. Bolt's world record in the 200 meters stands at 19.19 seconds, set at the 2009 World Championships in Berlin. While Gout's 19.98 came with significant wind assistance, the fact that he's already flirting with sub-20 performances at just 17 years old suggests a trajectory that could eventually challenge even Bolt's most hallowed marks. Gatlin, who had competed against Bolt throughout much of his career, raised important questions about what would come next for the young Australian star. Do you put him on a more international schedule to where he can race other athletes of his caliber and he will be in that season to be able to race them? Or do you just kind of let him be the king of his own domain?